Today is Arlene Washburn. Arlene is an award-winning Master Executive Certified Matchmaker and science-based dating coach with over 13 years of experience in matchmaking. Now the driving force behind Love Pro Mastermind Academy, she empowers matchmakers with training, ethical guidance, and best practices. Arlene is also the visionary founder of the Worldwide Referral Network, where matchmakers and daters can connect within a reliable, ethical framework. With an innovative approach to the matchmaking industry, she's passionate about raising standards and supporting matchmakers in scaling their businesses while maintaining integrity. Her expertise spans matchmaking, coaching, business development, and fostering meaningful connections in modern dating. Welcome, everybody, to Circle Back to You podcast. I'm your host, Jason Wilson. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm so excited to have my friend Arlene Washburn on the show. Welcome to the show, Arlene.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, my twin.
Yes.
We share the
Okay,
same birthday.
exactly, yes. For everybody that doesn't know about this, we have the same birthday. November the 8th is coming up, so don't forget.
Different
Yes.
years, though. Different years, but anyway.
Different years, yeah. But hey, you can't even tell. Um, so today we're going to be talking about Love Pro Mastermind Academy. Um, Now you've been a matchmaker for a long time, but you've transitioned into having your own academy. What spurred that transition, Arlene?
When I got into matchmaking, I had a goal of affecting the lives of over 1 million people. And as one practitioner, it is a very hard thing to do. And so early on in my career, because I had a very strong business background, over 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry with various positions, and I was VP of a company, finance, operations, technology, you name it. I brought all of that into this industry when I started my business. And what I came to find out was that that was the area that was seriously lacking. And that is that people go into our industry very heart centered, which is a good thing, helping people, helping put people together. However, there's also this big business element that goes into it. And that's where I felt like, okay, people need help. So even while I was running my own matchmaking business, I was actually helping other people and consulting for other people to help them develop their business. And now I get to really spread the love through helping other practitioners with their businesses. And I think I could achieve a lot more that way. And I left the industry as a matchmaker because I didn't want to compete with my clients and I want to dedicate 100% of my time to this work.
I think that's wonderful, and so many people need help, not just with their practice, but also how to set it up and have it run like a true business. People don't know how to do that. So, exactly, what do you do in order to help people along those lines?
Yeah, so when I started in this industry, I actually started a matchmaking business without any training or anything because unfortunately there's no barrier to entry. So any individual can say, open up a website and start a matchmaking business and hit the ground running, so to speak, and start practicing. The challenge with that is that without proper training, you're less likely to be successful, or it's going to take you a lot longer. You're probably going to start giving refunds, and because you're going to make mistakes that, it's a very highly emotional industry. So you have to understand how to navigate working with clients in the right way. Also, there's a lot of compliance and ethics that goes into any business. These are small businesses to very large businesses. And if you don't understand what it means to run a business as an entrepreneur, because often the people that go into this are coming from corporate America and making a transition into entrepreneurship, which is, requires different skill sets or at least different practices. And you need to be really self propelled and you need to be organized and have methods and technology and all the things. And so you don't know what you don't know. And so without the proper training, you're just going to struggle.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so, you have a special group coming up for training. When does that start? And tell us all about that.
Yeah, so our groups typically start on a quarterly basis, and we have something coming up for March. I do two different types of groups. One is the new matchmaker, someone going into the business for the first time, and that is a 1 year program, and it takes you from day 0 to 6 months completely creating your business. From 6 months to a year, you actually get clients, work with clients, and all of this is done through a done with you method, which means that you get instruction, you follow the instructions and do the thing. Even if there's multiple people in the course, everybody's doing their own thing specific to their business. We review the work that you do, and then you move on to the next thing. And so you're actually building as you go, unlike many other programs. And in that way, you actually can walk away in a year and you're already working with clients and you have ongoing support, because from 6 months to the year you're getting training and support. The other type of group that we work with is we have a lot of existing matchmakers, or maybe old school matchmakers that have been in the business for 20 plus years, who want to come into the fold and understand and learn about collaboration, which is something that have been speaking about for years in conferences and things like that. How to collaborate properly, and learning more and more about ethics and compliance, which is an area that I have a huge amount of focus on, because ethics and compliance is so important in integrity, because you're dealing with people, humans, their emotions, they're already struggling. And the last thing you want to do is something unethical that's going to hurt your client and also take their money without being able to help them. So those are the two main focuses. The existing matchmaker, they do a 6 month mastermind, and then the 1 year program for someone that's going into it as a new matchmaker. So I guess we lost Jason. So just to kind of talk a little bit more about this, what I've found is that people feel that they'll take a program that's online, for example, and it's something that you do on your own. And what ends up happening is that you go through the program and then you're sitting home thinking, "Oh my God, what do I do next? What am I supposed to be doing on a regular basis?" And you're quote unquote certified, which, by the way, a certification in matchmaking is not government regulated. So a true certification is, there's an accrediting body, if you will, that would validate a certification. So basically, any kind of program that you take is a certificate of completion. There's no government regulating that. They regulate businesses, and there's some rules and regulations with regard to matchmaking, but that's what a certification is. I just want to be clear, because I mean, I call myself a certified matchmaker because I went through some training, but it's really a certificate of completion. Secondly, what I want to say is that people think that going through a fast and quick program, that they're going to hit the ground running, and the reality is that, yeah, you're going to hit the ground running into not having success, probably not making money, probably. Some people leave their jobs thinking they're going to do this quickly and start practicing and making money. That doesn't happen. You end up giving refunds because you're not conducting your business in the right way. And the worst case scenario is you end up in court because somebody sues you. And so that fast is often half ass. And so, and I excuse my language, but that's just the reality of it. Whereas when we bring someone new into the industry, they're going through methods that are building one on top of the other, so that you're creating a sustainable business and you're working with clients in the proper way, so that you're not hurting people or just taking their money, or even selling matchmaking in an unethical way, which is a common practice. So that's why I'm so passionate about this industry, because right now we have a loneliness epidemic, and it's so important that we do something. And clearly, the apps aren't working, because if they were, we have thousands, and I mean thousands of apps that exist today. You name it, whatever specialty, religion, ethnicity, it's available, but they're not working. They're not working for everyone, I should say. So often, a matchmaker liaising between two individuals will create a sticky bond that doesn't necessarily happen when you're on an app. And let's face it, aren't people sick and tired of being online? They want to connect, they want to meet humans. And when you're working with a matchmaker, they'll set up the introduction for you so that you show up and you actually meet an individual, whereas people left to their own devices will correspond for a year and never meet someone. So I really do believe that matchmaking is the answer. And I would love for there to be a day where everyone says, yeah, I know a matchmaker, in the same way they say that about realtors, right? Everybody knows a realtor. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And I can't tell you how passionate I am about this. But yeah, I go on and on and on.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm passionate about this business as well, Arlene. I had a speed dating company, as you well know, from 2010 to 2015 here in Colombia, and the most important thing for me was watching the connection that people had on their dates,
Mhm.
and we had more than 200 marriages within that 5 year period. So, yeah, I'm passionate about this too, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that we have all of these dating apps out there, and okay, let's say that you meet somebody on an app, right? And you find out that it's not even the person that they portrayed to be in the photo, or it is the person and they have a nightmare experience on that date for any set of reasons. So having a matchmaker can help prevent all of those types of things from happening.
Yeah, I think having the right matchmaker who is properly trained to do the things that are going to protect the clients. Because when I first got into the industry, I immediately thought, I want to run background checks. Now, we know that in America, it is not easy to run a real foolproof background check, but it doesn't mean that you can't make the effort at minimally to run it through the databases that exist. I was told by some people that were in the industry for a long time and also that taught matchmaking not to do that. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense because, well, they're like, well, it's going to be a liability, but you can mitigate the liability by putting that on your contract. But even from the standpoint that most matchmakers are female, and if you're going to go meet someone and you don't even know anything about them and you haven't run a background check on them and they're criminals or they're on a sex offender list, you're really putting your clients at risk. But when I started, I immediately said, that's something I'm going to do. But I was told when I went and got certified that I shouldn't do that. And I don't agree with that. So when we teach matchmaking in our industry, in my school, we're teaching, do the background check, make sure you protect yourself in the contract because nothing is 100%, nothing's foolproof, but do the due diligence. Make sure you're checking identifications, make sure that you are verifying that they are who they say they are, make sure that you're not collaborating with a colleague and just going off of a profile that a colleague lent you or sent you and say, hey, I think I have a match for your client. No, you commit to meeting every single person that you're introducing to your client. And by the way, you have to protect not just the client, but the match. Because I went through my own experience before I started my matchmaking company, where I went to a high end matchmaking company in New York. And basically, they just wanted to know that I was anywhere between a size 0 and a size 4. And then they handed me a binder with, sheets of paper of men. And because they knew at that time I had been in the pharmaceutical industry, they were all doctors, and one of them had been in jail and had a criminal record. Now, why would I go to a high-end matchmaking company to meet someone who has a criminal record? I can do that on my own all day. Like, you go to a service like that because you think you're going to get top-notch, people that have been vetted, etc. And even with that company, that was a very big national company, they didn't care about the match. And I train that you have to care about both the match, and when I say match, I mean someone who's maybe not paying, and the client. And you want to make sure that it's a mutual match, so you're not just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks, which is another thing that a lot of matchmakers do just to fulfill the contract.
Wow, that is so surprising that there's companies actually in existence that do not screen the matches. Oh my God.
No, they'll go off of a profile. They're used to collaborating. They'll say, well, this is a colleague of mine. Oh, Jason, I know Jason. He knows the kind of people that I'm looking for. Well, if you're screening not just because you want to make sure they are who they say they are and all that stuff. You're also screening for criteria that you've agreed upon with your client. So if you and your client have come to an agreement about certain things that you know you want in a partner, your matchmaker is going to screen for that.
Yeah,
So if you're just taking a profile that your colleague sent you and now you're setting up a date without having screened that person, I think that's not proper. I think it's unethical. And I know that there are a lot of matchmakers that will disagree with me, but I maintain that no client wants to know that you're not screening the people that you introduce to them.
exactly. I want to take a quick comment from David Jones. He's a good friend of mine. I was actually on David's show a few weeks ago, and he has a company where you can actually organize events on the metaverse. And
Ooh,
so we actually did our interview on the metaverse. I mean, amazing experience. I gotta connect you with him, Arlene.
yes.
I think that there would be a lot of opportunity for collaboration there. But he says it is a different mindset making that transition from employee to business owner. Yes, absolutely. But in the world of matchmaking, what challenges have you seen, Arlene, in making that transition?
Well, one of the main transitions that you have to make is just because you want to do something like matchmaking or you want to be an artist or whatever, if you want it to be a business, then you have to run it as a business. You need the right structure. You need to embrace technology. You need to understand what are the types of people staffing that you need. For example, even if you start out as a solopreneur, one of the things that we put our students through who are starting out is creating an organizational chart. Even if your name is on every single one of those responsibilities, when you go to hire someone, you know what you're hiring for instead of, oh, I met someone, they're a nice person, I really like them, I think we can work together, and now they're working for you and you have no real reason to have that person in your business, and maybe they're not the right person. We also make sure that people have, like a business plan and that they're targeted. I think what I saw often, very, very often, is that people want to be everything to everyone. They think that by having a niche or a specific target market, that they're going to lose business, that they're not going to make as much money. And the reality is that it's the opposite. When you want to be everything to everyone, your marketing is diluted. You can't build a database properly because your database, if I know that I'm working exclusively with men, for example, then I can build a database of women. But if I'm trying to be everything to everyone, then it's going to be more difficult. So there's always a way to find that niche for yourself. And there's a lot of areas that are not represented in matchmaking right now. There's a lot of opportunity for people to come into the industry and start something in an area that is underserved, and you could be very successful. And not only can you be successful by, getting clients yourself, but other matchmakers will refer business to you, because if somebody falls outside of the type of people that they're working with, they'll say, hey, I know Arlene does that, let me send them over there. And so that collaborative effort and new way, that's what I call the new matchmaking way of doing things, is collaboration. Where in back in the old days, the old school matchmakers were very proprietary. They were like, blinders, and it was just them and their database and their clients. They didn't look at another matchmaker. They wanted nothing to do with another matchmaker, and they would get pissed off if you set up shop, 5 blocks away. And nowadays, that's not the case. We all collaborate. And the last thing I'll say about that is, the reality is there's enough to go around. There are millions of people who are seeking a committed relationship, who don't have the time to be looking. And these are fabulous people. They can be successful business owners, especially with the men. I often hear, well, men, a good looking, tall guy who owns a business, and is fabulous, doesn't need a matchmaker. That guy needs a matchmaker more than the other guys. Why? Because you're going to spend a lot of money and a lot of time going out with the wrong people when you can hire and outsource it to a matchmaker who's going to vet for the criteria that you're looking for if you're seeking a serious relationship. And then you're not wasting time going on dates with people who aren't qualified to meet you. And the same goes for women now, because now women are more, highly educated. More women are getting higher education. More women are controlling money. By 2030, they're going to control 2/3 of the money in America, at least. And so what's going to happen? They're busy, they're working, they want to meet a quality person who's at their level. And good luck finding that, because that's a full-time job. And that's, guess what matchmakers do full-time is find quality people. So anyway, I get all jacked up about this because I just love this industry, and I really want to clean it up.
Well, like I said before, I'm with you 100% on this. I think what you're doing is great for matchmakers. So again, when is the upcoming seminar for matchmakers?
So we tentatively have a new cohort starting in March. It's a quarterly start, and we typically start with an orientation, which is pretty comprehensive, and you get homework right away. And by the way, when I say homework, it's not just, oh, this is something you have to do to submit it to Arlene or the school because that they need it. No, no, no. Homework is always stuff you're doing for yourself to begin building immediately. And I will say this, if you're somebody listening to this who thinks, well, this is kind of hokey or matchmaking, like, is that really? Let me tell you, this is a serious career. We have people in our industry who went to Harvard, who went to all the Ivy Leagues. We have every Ivy League represented. We have former lawyers who have decided, you know what, I hate being a lawyer. I did it because my parents wanted me to, or whatever, and they've left that to go into matchmaking, making lawyer money and with matchmaking. I'm not trying to make this about the money, but I'm just trying to give you the how viable this is as a business. Also, there's tons of clients to be had because people are just fed up with the apps,
Yeah.
and they're busy working and they're doing things and they need help, and they want to outsource it in the same way that they would outsource buying a home or doing anything else that you don't feel like doing yourself. So it is a very, very strong up and coming business that's becoming more and more mainstream. And there was a time where people were like, oh, I'm embarrassed to say I'm working with a matchmaker because it makes you feel inadequate. Well, guess what? It's going to be like, I'm going to be proud to say that I have a matchmaker, in the same way like the coaching, right? Like, everybody has a business coach now. Back in the day, they were like, oh, coach, that's embarrassing. Like, people need to get over their ego and realize what is benefiting them and what's going to make them waste more time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to sign up, you can go to your website.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so there is an application process. They need to go to the Love Pro Mastermind.com to fill out the application or schedule a call. What we're trying to do is bring the right people into this industry that are ethical, that are in it for the right reasons, and that, we also can help people connect the dots. So if you're someone who thinks, well, I've been doing XYZ, how does that relate? How does that translate in? We can connect those dots for you and show you if you have already some skill sets that are actually going to help you be successful in this business. And we need more men. We need representation in this industry. Right now the men in this country and around the world are struggling. We need more men coming into matchmaking. Nothing wrong with women, of course. Women are fabulous and they're doing a great job, but we need more men. We need more ethnicities. We need more diversity in every possible way. I know DEI is like a big bad word these days in America, but we need representation, because one of the things that I'm a stickler for is ensuring that when a client hires a matchmaker, that they're hiring someone that has the cultural competency to understand who they are so they can set them up with the right person. And I think often people just go to some generic matchmaker who has no clue. Like, if you don't know anything about being Jewish, and you better hope that your matchmaker understands everything that she needs to understand, especially if you're kosher, if you're this, if you're that. Same with ethnicities, like an African American person versus an African coming from Africa have very different cultures, or coming from the Caribbean. And if a matchmaker doesn't understand that, they're not going to be able to help you in the right way. So it doesn't mean they have to look like you, but that makes it easier. But if they don't, they need to have that cultural competency. They need to have studied the ethnicity and the kind of people they want to work with to be successful, which again is something that we teach the newer matchmakers as well.
I think that's wonderful as well. Let's take a word from our sponsor.
Have you ever felt called to help others find love? You might have the heart for matchmaking, but without the right training, turning that passion into a thriving business can feel impossible. Most matchmaking courses give you outdated theories and a certificate, but no real-world strategy to build a successful business. That's where Love Pro Mastermind Academy is different. Our live Done With You training goes beyond theory, helping you develop matchmaking expertise, implement sales and marketing strategies, and master the art of client success. With expert-led instruction, accountability, and a community of like-minded professionals, you'll learn how to identify your niche, attract high-quality clients, create a seamless matchmaking process, grow a sustainable, profitable business. With over a decade of experience, we don't just train matchmakers, we create leaders in the industry. Are you ready to become an LPMA certified matchmaker and build a business that changes lives? Apply today at lovepromastermind.com.
Hi, I know that company.
You know what? I'm proud to say that I'm going to be one of your first certified matchmakers. I cannot wait.
Yes, I'm excited for you to do that, because you notice that the speed dating is really back in style. There was a time where people were doing a lot of speed dating and then it sort of fell out because everybody started working on the apps. But now speed dating is back because they want to meet people. They want to meet people face to face. They want to feel that energy and have all their senses in the room, not just online. And so matchmaking is an add-on to that. Like, it's a perfect addition to not only running speed dating events, which is a great way to source clients and matches for your clients, but also providing that value add. If someone says, you know what, this is great, I love the speed dating, it's fun, it gets me out, but I really need to get serious because A, I have a biological clock ticking, or B, I'm ready for marriage and I want to pick the right person, because this is such an important decision. I don't want to ruin, have children with the wrong person. I mean, nothing's foolproof, nothing's guaranteed. But at least if you have a good practitioner who's actually helping you, number one, figure out your criteria that makes sense for you, and then also getting out there and finding that person for you. I mean, that is just a service that everybody should have. And I hope to make it even more affordable as we add more people into the industry.
That's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, please again go to lovepromastermind.com and sign up for the upcoming seminar starting next week, right, Arlene?
Next month, yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Lovepromastermind.com, ladies and gentlemen. Arlene, it's always a pleasure talking to you and having you here on the show today. Awesome experience. We're going to have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, it looks like Jason might have frozen up. There you are.
Okay. So much for everything. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching Circle Back to You podcast. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.